Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. This is Johnny Mac 365, and welcome to Wednesday Word. I'd like to give a shout out to all of those in the bushes and to all the Libras who are celebrating their birthdays this Libra season. Happy birthday to you all. And I'd like to give a shout out to the content creators, each and every one of them, individually and collectively. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. And to all of my subscribers, my new subscribers, my day ones, and all those in the middle, I appreciate you very, very, very much. You all keep me motivated with your comments. And I really appreciate it. I don't know why I'm not seeing the chat. I don't know if anybody's in. What's going on here? Nope, that's not it. What's going on? Okay, well, anyway, I'm just going to go ahead because I can't see my chat. Interesting. Oh, there we go. There we go. Deanna Irving, good afternoon. Renee Michelle, Satin, good afternoon. Sonia Swabies, C. Tyson, good afternoon, everyone's. I appreciate your attendance. I appreciate. I haven't been on for about a week. Well, basically because this is my birthday month, for one thing. And in order to really enjoy my birthday month, because I usually celebrate my birthday for the whole month, and then sometime I spill it over into 2 and 3 months, and then sometimes all year long. So this is my new year. This is how I celebrate my new year. Okay, so I thank you. However, I haven't been on here, but I've been observing a lot of the things that have been going on. And it has been, I must say that Monday, the weekend was quiet, but Monday started out with a bang. But let me admonish you, do not be fooled by crocodile tears and an act of or a facade of being sorry or looking sorry, because that's just coming down to build up or to recharge so that they can start this whole thing again. Just be mindful and don't be swayed in. Patricia Ellington, good afternoon. So don't be swayed by what you see, because it's what you don't see. It's what you don't see. Oh my gosh, what's going on here? It's what you don't see that is brewing in the background. But if you watch the behavior, you will see that the behavior is recycling. It is recycling the untruths and the flat out lies, which are so easily proved just by observing. And so much of this, I had seen coming, and it's amazing. It's just amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing. Mysterious Mermaid, Patricia Ellington, Nanny Poo Love, welcome and good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Now, I've also been observing how different ones from different, if you will, opposing um, groups have been infiltrating and coming in and have been um, grabbing up bones and so-called evidence and have been running back because certain people have been addressing certain issues. And it's just funny. And then, though, there are some that I've observed that have been quiet this whole couple of few days. They have been very quiet. They have been caping for individuals and covering individuals and supporting individuals. However, they have been keeping their mouth closed through this whole incident. And I always say birds of a feather do flock together, and they try to cover one another. However, I noticed that when they start getting into their own, people get very quiet and they go into the dugout, if you will. But anywho, again, I appreciate everyone here. Casey, how are you? It's been a while since I've seen you, Casey. It's good to see you. This is my Kojic brother. It's good to see you. Very, very good to see you. Well, I've seen you around, but I've mostly been in the bushes just observing. Bernadette, good afternoon. Yes, yes, ladies and gentlemen, please hit that like button, and you can also, you have my permission to share. And if you are not subscribed, you can subscribe. You can subscribe. All righty. Now, today's Wednesday word, we're going to deal with manipulation. And I was doing some reading, and I fell upon 10 types of emotional manipulation. And now when I call these different types out, if you have learned anything from me or taken anything from me, you will. I have always used the word observing in my observation. I am somewhat of an observer of people and behavior. And in that being said, I have, just done that. I've watched how people move. I've sat back quietly, a lot of times in the bushes, in the corner, and you've heard me say that I stay over here in my corner and I let my little light shine. However, during those times, I'm still observing. Now, you will be able to identify these behaviors of the 10 types of emotional manipulation. And it was so funny when I stumbled upon this and I read this, I was somewhat blown away in a sense, because I identified every single one of them here on YouTube with either one person or several people. Now, when you hear these, you will see that they are represented by several different people on here. And my goal is to enlighten you with this information so that you will be able to discern by what you've learned, and you're able to put it to use so that you don't get gooped. Because for a while now, there have been certain individuals on here who have been gooping, quote unquote, the children, who have been using one, two, all of these types of manipulation, and they have had people supporting them in their wrong. And when I say supporting them in their wrong, one of the things I try to do, and I try to be true to, number one, is to myself. But when I am associated with people and when I support people, I don't cover their wrong in the sense of it did not happen or they did not do something out of character or something that we consider or make a bad decision or make a wrong decision. Let me put it that way. I attempt in the spirit of love to pull their coattail and to let them know that wasn't particularly in your best interest, nor in the best interest of other people. And in the long run, what that does is that it comes back on you. And when it comes back on you, it comes back on you like a dump truck. It comes back on you like a dump truck. And there may be people in your camp, if you will, that try to lessen the blow, but it doesn't really lessen the blow, because ultimately you have to look at you in the mirror. You have to deal with you. You have to face you. And I do know that a lot of people, they tend to have, as I said in one of my videos before, they have these mirrors that are, in some of these, like some of these stories that we've heard for years, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, or Sleeping Beauty, where the wicked person looks in the mirror and the mirror actually tells them what they want to see or what they want to hear and what they want to hear. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? And we find that the mirror told the wicked stepmother that you are the fairest one, of them all, until someone comes along that is authentic, that is full of love and positiveness, if you will, and who doesn't mind sharing with no expectation of anything in return. Then that person tends to get angry or jealous or envious, and then they set out to destroy relationships and destroy the credibility of that individual. 6 of 7, good afternoon. Vesha G, welcome and good afternoon. J. Dot, my incredibly talented vlog son, good to see you. Very, very good to see you. I think I called you 6 of 7. 6 of 7, you know how I feel about you. Much love to you. So we're going to go into the 10 types of emotional manipulators. And again, Eddie Peeler, good afternoon and welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so good to see all of you in my coming back. Ona Corona, hi, love, welcome, welcome, welcome. So there are 10 types of emotional manipulators. And again, as I read this, there are people on YouTube and in my personal life that popped out. They actually popped out. Well, Mo, good to see you, Mo. That popped out to me. Now, the first one is the constant victim. The constant victim. This kind of individual will always find a way to end up as a victim in their relationships. This type of person, no matter what happens, positive or negative, in their relationship, they are the victim. They become the victim. Everybody's picking on me. Good afternoon, Maturish. Good to see you. The constant victim is always a victim, no matter what things look like, no matter what you as the third party observe. This individual is the constant victim. If they have a flat tire, they're a victim. Someone comes along and helps them fix that flat tire. They are still the victim, no matter how much you care for them or how much you bend over backwards to help them and to support them. They are the constant victim. Why me? Why are they doing this to me? The second one is one-upsmanship expert. One-upmanship expert. This person uses put downs, snide remarks, and criticism to show that they're superior and know much more than you. I'm telling you, this was when I read this was like a preachment to me. And it was like a scripture just leaping off the page, preaching to me, because these are types of people that are readily identifiable when you have the tools and the techniques to recognize them. When you have the information to recognize them, you see. So this person, the one-upmanship expert, he always uses put downs. He always has snide remarks and criticisms. Now, I don't usually call names, but in my experience and in my observation of certain YouTubers, one in particular, and I'm going to call his name, and that is Jay Wilson. The first two so far, are attributes and behaviors that I have observed in Jay Wilson. They are practiced on a constant basis. He's always the victim. Even when he's wrong, he's the victim. And he's one-upsmanship. He has that expertise in being one up on you. He has to put you down in order to try to, if you will, kill your influence and kill your credibility. He has to be superior, and he always knows much more than everybody else. And I know there's a witness in the house. Okay, number three. Number three is the powerful dependents. They hide behind the mask of being weak and powerless, then use their helplessness to dominate relationships. That is, they send the subtle message, you must not let me down. And how many times have we witnessed that individual? They hide behind the mask of being totally powerless in situations. And whenever they give you the story, that they were powerless in, or their behavior or their position in the situation was of no power. And they use that to manipulate you into not letting them down. They become more important because of, quote unquote, their powerlessness. And so they work on your emotion that they can't do it, or they're having a problem with getting it done, just so that they can dominate the relationship. It's like going through the back door, especially when you are a strong individual. And number four, triangulators. This person tries to get other people on their side. I mean, I can just stop there. Because there are a couple of names that if we were doing a list of them, that would be top on the list. The triangulators. What they do is they try to get other people. They try to manipulate and appeal to other people's emotions to get them to turn away from any kind of relationship or harmonious relationship that you have. People that don't even know you begin to come after you as if they knew you, as if they had experience, close experience to you. They come after you like they know you, like they've broken bread with you, like they've had intimate conversation with you on several occasions. They're quick to put you down and say some nasty things. They separate good friends or drive a wedge in families. Now, these are some behaviors. If you go back to when with the falling out between Jay Wilson Tracy and Joyce Vlogs, you saw that happen. You saw that after that, there was a campaign even to turn Joyce and Tracy against each other. And I mean, that was amazing. That was amazing. That was amazing. People went on their platforms and began to rag these people to other people and to share erroneous information about these people and twist narratives so that other people can fall out with these people. And for a short period of time, you saw it in effect. You saw it working until some of the people stood back and watched and observed that the basis of their own feelings, ideas, and impressions was not what they thought was the truth. The truth is that the individual was trying to get a group of people to turn against these two people and to get them to divide. Okay. They drive a wedge to separate. They try to separate good friends or divide or drive a wedge between friends and families. The blaster, that's number 5. The 5th type of emotional manipulator is the blaster. They blast you with their anger and they blow up suddenly. That stops you from asking questions in case there's a showdown. Now, there was an incident not too long ago wherein there was a troll page on Jay Wilson's platform who began to speak. I just so happened that day to be in the bushes when this troll page with a similar name to mine came in and was saying things, and Jay Wilson completely lost control of his platform. He completely lost control and went in on me, thinking that the troll page was me. He blasted with his anger. He blew up suddenly because he didn't want pertinent questions asked. It was very funny that the question that was asked was about Tracy. He had made the statement that Tracy couldn't read. And the if I remember correctly, the question was asked something about her reading a problem with the collard greens or something like that. And he just blew up. And even though it was a troll page, what he was saying was directed at me. And that's why I answered him. So he didn't want to be challenged. That's one of the things that, I found very odd about a man that is, well, he's, I guess you would say he's in my age group of 10 years. Let's put it that way. That a man that age, when it comes to being confronted, if you will, with from a man or challenged by a man, not negatively being challenged, this young man, this individual of 49 years old, cannot handle it. He cannot stand up in man drawers and man pants and deal with a man asking him questions, because initially when we fell out, it was a question. It was a statement. It was pulling his coattail that the behavior was improper and problematic to the word, to the inspirational word that you attempt to give on Sunday. Incongruent. And that's what started that whole thing. And that's why I walked away. I walked away because here is a man that is supposed to be a man of God, but does not surround himself with wise counsel. And it is important. It is important whether you're a man of God, whether you're a preacher or claim to be a preacher, which has also been dispelled by family members. But when you are in that calling, and if you really want to fake it, let me put it this way. If you really want to fake it, you need wise counsel. And there needs to be a behavior. But again, your words or your behavior will always betray your words. Your behavior will always betray your words. Your behavior will always act out what you think and not what you say. The sixth type of emotional manipulation is the projector. The projector. This is the person that thinks they're perfect and others have flaws. They take no ownership because they're never, ever wrong. Can I read that again? Can I read that one more again? Number 6, the sixth type of emotional manipulator is the projector. This person thinks they're perfect and others have flaws. In other words, they see no flaws and take no responsibilities for their flaws and their weaknesses. However, they highlight everyone else's. They highlight everyone else's. They don't take ownership. They don't take ownership. They don't take ownership because they are never, ever wrong. Not that they are never wrong, but in their mind, they are never, ever wrong. Never, ever wrong. And again, prime example. Prime example is Jay Wilson across town. Across town, he projects everything onto everybody else. He has no flaws. He takes responsibility for nothing that he does. Everyone else is wrong. He's the victim, and he's never, ever wrong. He's never come on to my, if my memory serves me correctly, he's never, ever wrong for what he does. But everybody else is wrong, and everyone owes him an apology. Y'all remember that? Everyone that he has any kind of situation with, they're always wrong and he's never ever wrong, and he looks for an apology from them. The seventh type of emotional manipulator is the deliberate misinterpreter. They seem like a nice person, but they twist and use your words. They twist and use your words. They spread misinformation, and misinterpret you. Thus, they deliberately present you in a false, negative way. Again, have we not seen this play out in this individual's behavior? Have we not seen number 7, deliberate misinformation? And I have to say that I experienced this firsthand. Misinformation that he has spewed out in regards to me. Amazing. Amazing. I'm not perfect by no stretch of the imagination. I know I'm not perfect. I understand my flaws. I know my flaws, but I know that because God loves me in spite of my flaws, I can love me in spite of my flaws, recognize them, and work through them. If my flaw happens to be a thorn in my flesh that I have to accept, then I know that God's grace is sufficient. And I know how to work through and work with that flaw doesn't overtake any given circumstances that I may be in. I don't go and watch him that often. If I do, I'm in the bushes. However, the other day I happened to be looking at his past videos, and July 30th, I found a video that was based upon me and my platform. He came to my platform and he found my platform boring, and he found that I put him to sleep several times during my sermon or whatever I was doing at that particular time. I talked around the bush too much. I didn't get to the point and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow. And I have been trained in theology. I have theological training. I am an ordained minister. I have pastored. And so I do me the way I do me, according to the gifts and talents that God has given me. So, not insulted or was not offended, but when I read number 7, he stood out to me. You know, he's also said things about my hair, and I'm like, dude, you don't have none. I'm confused. But anyway, we won't dwell on that. But the 7th is the deliberate misinterpreter. He interprets it his way, and then he uses it to disseminate misinformation about individuals, to try to show people that you are not who you say you are, or that you are a negative person. Even much when I watched I think it was last night, And the night before, I think it was, he did a couple of videos saying, in essence, that you reap what you sow, and that we need to stop doing this and go and tell people to stop doxing and everything that you are saying you've done, everything that you're projecting on someone else. Those of us that have been observing have watched you do this and then project it on to someone else. The eighth type of emotional manipulator is the flirt. This person uses flirting to get their way in life. They want to be admired and to have an audience. However, your feelings and your needs are of no concern to them. We've heard his relationships with a lot of the people on here. We've heard that he gets along for a moment, and then once he finishes getting what he wants from you, he leaves. He drops you. Once the fire is hot, he uses individuals as a shield. Case in point, when he did that video the other night where he brought up Larry Reid's daughter and that picture, and I was in the bushes, and as he did that, I sat there and I was like, excuse me, what did I miss? There was no caveat to it. He just came out with that photograph, that picture, stating that this was Larry Nelson's daughter, as if it was, and I just, it was just odd. It was just odd and abrupt. And I knew that at that point, it was more than just a deflection. Understand, it was more than just a deflection. It was a ploy to start something up from a known situation that had died down, started up so that there would be a war between Larry Nelson and TSCC when TSCC was on his neck, to start that so that VS would use the bait and start a whole nother war with Larry Nelson, and he be totally out of the picture. So he used that as a shield to divert the war that he was having, so that Larry Nelson and VS would start fighting, and he would be in the cool, and he can come back and have no responsibility in anything. So again, I mean, really crazy to me. So he uses flirting, and we've watched how he has done friendly flirting to get people relationships. However, we see that the other person's feelings are of no concern. Whatever Larry would have had to go through had VS taken the bait, Larry's feelings was of no concern of his, as long as he saves himself out of being ragged and dragged. Okay, the eighth type of emotional manipulator. Oh, that was 8. I'm sorry. 9. Oh, I'm moving pretty fast. The 9th type of emotional manipulator is the iron fist. the iron fist. They use intimidation to throw their weight around, to use you for their ends and to get their way in life. So they try to intimidate. They try to intimidate. They try to throw whatever weight that they think they have around, to use you for their ends. They try to, in other words, they try to use intimidation to break you down, to get what they need from you and to get their way in life. And you have to pay attention to these types and these attributes in a person's behavior and in their makeup, because it's amazing when you see this and you understand this. That is amazing when you read it and it jumps out at you, and different individuals come before you. And I mean, it is remarkable. It is, and it really is amazing. It really is amazing. It really is amazing. But these people use intimidation, and we have seen the intimidation. As a matter of fact, what jumps in my mind is the Heidi Fly incident that happened with the panel. He began to yell to intimidate Heidi Fly. However, Heidi Fly was not having it. And I'm sorry, y'all, but if anybody in here that doesn't care for Heidi Fly, you have to give her props for standing her ground, because she would not be intimidated. And the more she would not be intimidated, or the more she challenged his intimidation, the more he lost control. The more he lost control. So big ups to Heidi Fly for that. And to the point where he disrespected her. He did disrespect her. And several others on that panel did as well. I was only observing. Now, number 10. The 10th type, and the 10th and final type of emotional manipulator, is the multiple offender. The multiple offender. Now, this person uses several of the techniques we've described. Again, the multiple defender is the person that uses several of these types, okay, that have been described, and they'll often switch between them if it suits their purposes. Now, here's what that's saying. When you identify these behaviors and these types of people, some people will have one, some people will have two. There might be a person that has 1 and 3 and 1 and 4 and whatnot like that. Or then you find some that just have one of these types in their personality. However, the multiple offender switches in and out of all these depending upon his purpose and depending upon what his purposes are, and depending upon who he is and how much of these he has perfected within himself. Now, I ask you, have you seen any individual on here lately that has exhibited most of or all of these types of manipulators? I know I have. I know that I have. I have seen, and again, one of the biggest people on here that has exhibited each of these behaviors at different times, and sometimes multiple of these behaviors at the same time, has been Jay Wilson. He has perfected being able to switch out of each and every one of these according to the situation and according to what his purpose is. If it's to protect himself, he grabs that attribute or that type and he throws it out there, he uses it. But it is all to manipulate people into believing that he's something that he is not. And usually it is when a person has to manipulate people and get people on their side, it is because they realize that they are not who they want to be. And they feel that it's too late to become the person that they want to be. They're insecure. And so they use manipulation to boost their self-esteem. And most of them, and also here's another thing. When you see a person that has all these attributes and can switch out in and out of them at any given time, it lets you know that they didn't just start manipulating. They've been manipulating for a long time. Excuse me, y'all. I apologize. They have been manipulating for a long time because they recognize what particular type that they need to be for that situation or for that person. And so they're able to smoothly move in and out of them to convince those that are observing that they really are who they are. They are the victim. They are the expert. They are the powerful one. They have people following them at their word. They are the blasters, the projectors, disseminating false information about individuals, the fist or the flirt, the iron fist. When they move through all of those very easily, as I have observed Mr. Jay Wilson, he's been doing this for a very long time. So I said that to say this, because he's in this mode or in this character of looking sad and feeling like giving the impression that, again, he's the victim, because he's using the victim card right now. He's using the victim card. Woe is me. People are doing this to me. I did nothing to anyone. I've never lied. I don't lie. A lot of people don't know a lot about a lot of things. I'm just going to say this. I am going to say this. I would like to say this, but I can't say this. The victim. Go out and tell these people that this is not what we should be doing, or not we, but what they should be doing. So it is amazing. It is amazing. So he's been doing this for a long time, because for the naked eye, or someone that's not expecting it, someone that is expecting him to be who he says he is easily influenced to believe that he is, and gives support. And this is the crazy thing about them giving support. They attack other people. They attack other people on his behalf. Because when you listen to certain words mean go on the attack. It means go into these people's chats and let them have it because they have come for your leader. That's what that says to me in my observation. It's what I call singo. I'm not going to get my hands dirty. I'm not going to get my hands chopped off. I'm not going to get my butt kicked, but I'm sending you to do it. You go out there and do it. You go out there and fight for me. And I sit back and I reap the benefits. And when I'm through with you, when you wake up to my manipulation and you no longer want to be manipulated, then I'm going to do the same thing to you that I did to everybody, because your feelings are not important to me. So when you, and this is why I said a long time ago, I said, I'm very cognizant of who I subscribe to. I have to be cognizant of who I align myself with. Because who you align yourself with, a lot of times is a label that you cannot live down. And Sean Bradley says, the side eye is eternal. And even though people will accept you, they will always side eye you because of who you were associated with and who you caped for. Now, I don't have a problem with anybody caping for anybody. That is your choice. However, if it is detrimental to your health, well-being, your success, you have to look at it just deeply, more deeply than your feelings. You have to look at it deeper. And you always hear me talk about feelings versus intellect. When you're guided by your feelings, it's like the blind leading the blind. Everybody falls into a ditch because nobody sees it coming. Or it's like walking in the dark. Walking in pitch black. You can't see anything. So you can't see the cabinet door. You can't see the chair. And you walk into it and you bruise and beat yourself, almost kill yourself walking in the dark. So we have to learn. We have to begin to learn to separate feeling for a person and seeing them through feelings from intellectually paying attention. We have to pay attention. We have to see the signs. And I felt impelled today to bring this to you so that we can all have the tools to see the signs and make the right decisions, or make better choices and better decisions. Let's put it that way. Because right and wrong is subjective. I don't care what anybody says. Right and wrong is subjective. If you've got a mental illness that causes you to see things differently, or that causes you to see right, wrong, and wrong, right, it is subjective, because what you may see as right, I may not see as right. But it's all about the choice. We make more educated choices and decisions. That's what I'm here for. Miss Leo, you know it's always a pleasure seeing you. It's always a pleasure. Melancholy, thank you for being here. It is important that it's all right to care for a person, but never allow the caring for a person to blind you to the realities of who that person is. And again, I believe it was Leo the Lioness Queen yesterday that had in her thumbnail a quote from Oprah's godmother. When someone shows you who they are, and when they show you, when you see who a person is, it is not emotional. It is intellectual. When they show you who they are, believe them. Don't give any excuses. Don't try to stay around to change that individual. Believe that you see. Believe it, because that is who the person is. They can tell you anything out of their mouths. And when they tell you stuff out of their mouths, they're telling you things that will tie you to them emotionally. Manipulation. They will tie you up emotionally, and emotionally you're tied, but intellectually you become blind, because thinking and feeling does not operate at the same time. It's either going to be one or the other. It's one or the other. Sonia Swaby said he is a psychopath. And I think also he, I don't know if he's aware of the Kinsey scale, because some of his behaviors appear to be somewhere on the Kinsey scale of autism, functional autism. Because he doesn't have a sense of appropriate and inappropriateness. You know, what I saw last night was him doing this wig thing, and the wig and the mask thing, and that's mental illness to me. What I saw last night was mental illness, because after he did the little woe is me video, he came back later on with a mask and a wig saying, "Hey y'all." And so in my mind, there is something mentally wrong, something mentally deficient. There's some disconnect in the mind with reality. And I know a lot of people, a lot of people can be upset if they want to with me saying that. But if you observe, you see that there is a disconnect from reality, which is deeper than even being a manipulator. Now, all of these 10 types of manipulators, of emotional manipulators, indicate that there is a psychosis. I'm not, I'm not a psychologist at all. Yes, Gamaj Carter, that's a very good statement too. Yeah. What Mr. Carter says, that James Baldwin says, "I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. That is excellent. I live by that golden nugget." And welcome, and thank you for the comment, because that's the case. That's actually it. I can't believe what you say. However, I see what you do, and when it doesn't balance, I mean, the scales can be a little off. because we all have a tendency sometimes to say things that we don't do. But when you do it on a consistent basis, trust me, it becomes, and then you try to reason it out and try to explain it out, and try to, and I used this some time ago, and when you look at it as it is, this is what I say. When people use excuses, an excuse, in my experience, is nothing more than a reason stuffed with a lie. We get a plausible reason. We get a plausible reason, and then we stuff it with all kind of lies so that we will be excused. Well, Sephora, see, I think his family is worried for, but we're going by what he says. That's the information that he has given out, that his family is worried for him. I think more or less his family is weary of him, because if you notice, there's not that tight-knit relationship. And if you saw the video where his brother-in-law and his sister came for his brother-in-law's graduation, you could see that there was a stillness, there was a separation in the air, there was not a closeness there. Even when they sang together, when my sisters and my brother and my mother, when we sing together, even though we have not sang together in years, there is a cohesiveness. But when he and his sister sang together, it was neither one of them really knew or felt comfortable. And so they were, there was a separation. It wasn't together. It wasn't in harmony. It was disharmony that was going. It was dissonance in the air, because it was as if they didn't know each other and they had never sang together. Well, there is a problem, Sonia Swaby, there is a problem that definitely that he has with women, that psychologists and psychiatrists say is due to the relationship with his mom. And that's very sad. It is a very sad situation, in my observation. Most of us don't always get along with our mothers. Let's face it. We all, once we get to a certain age, we don't agree with everything that our mothers have decided to do. However, I just heard Sci-Fi Dog. However, as we grow older, we learn that our mothers, their frame of reference and their experiences are a little bit different than ours because of the time that they came up in. However, the principle is still the same. The principle is the same, and the principle still works. Now, in our modern day, we modify our behaviors according to what we deem is acceptable today. But that principle still works the same. In his mind, he is not the only way he's a bisexual is if he's buying sex. That's it. The only bisexual that he will ever be is buying sex. And that's BUYING, sex. And again, I have often said, I said in the very beginning, I said, there are milestones in one's life. I know that I experienced it when I was 48, 49, going into 50. And I explained it like this. You begin to look back at your life and you take into account of everything that you have done up until that point. What you had purposed to do, what you had planned to achieve when you are on the precipice of 50, when you look back and see that most of the things you have not attained, you have not completed, it can be a devastating reality. It can be devastating. It can be devastating because what we have a tendency to do is we have a tendency to pay more attention to what we haven't gained and what we haven't achieved more than what we have achieved. I had an older individual, a best friend who is like a brother to me, to sit me down and say, okay, you're at the precipice of 50. Here's what you need to know. And as he began to explain it to me, I identified with it because I was in that place. And the tools that he gave me, believe you me, it helped me tremendously using those tools to transition and understand that I had no reason to feel bad for the things that I haven't achieved against the things that I had achieved. So I still sat in a place of blessed, abundantly blessed. And so I can either let those things go and at that point make the decision that at this point in my life, because I'm freer, I don't have anybody else's expectation to live up to. I have now grown into who I am and am comfortable and happy in the skin I'm in and the decisions that I made. So should I decide to grab that dream from the past and make it reality, I can. Because it is never too late. It's never too late to fulfill your dream or to reach your goal. And it's so funny, we say things in life that, or early in life, that later on we find comes back to us. One of the things I said to a very good friend of mine as we were coming up, he was in college and he was working full time and he found it challenging. He found it challenging almost to the point of difficult, having a full-time job and going to school full-time. And his job he worked was for the federal government. And he kept wanting to give up. He kept wanting to give up. And I said to him, it doesn't matter when you achieve the goal. It doesn't matter when, as long as you achieve it. So let me share that with you. Let me share that with you because I know there are some people in here that have regretted some of the things that they have not achieved. Stop regretting it. Let that regret go. You are blessed for being where you are right now. Because there are people that have gone through what you have gone through, and I feel the spirit on that. There are people that have gone through what you've gone through and didn't survive it. They didn't make it through it. They didn't work through it. They didn't pray through it. They didn't have the perseverance, but you made it through. And now you're on the other side. So don't ever feel that you cannot achieve your dream and your goal, no matter how old you are. You always hear when people say what God has for you is for you. And what God delights in, what he delights in when you obey him and when you do what he says do, when you follow his orders with joy. He delights in granting you the desires of your heart. So if that goal is a desire of your heart, it doesn't matter when it is granted, when you achieve it, you will achieve it, because what's for you is for you. You may have had to divert off the path, but if it's for you, everything in your diversion is going to lead you right back to the path, right back to the route that is for you to take. So don't you ever allow anybody to manipulate you to feel that you can't do it and that you won't do it and that you're too old and that you're too sick. The devil is a liar. He is a liar. And whatever devil is telling you that or trying to convince you, that devil is a liar and he's a defeated foe. Because you have it within you. God has placed it within you to achieve your goal. And I feel that all up and down in my spirit. God has put it in you. That dream is yours. God gave you that dream. And he's just sitting there saying, okay, it's about time for you to bring it to fruition. It's about time for you to accomplish that thing. So don't you ever feel like you have to regret your past. Your past, everything that you have experienced in your past is making you the person that God is going to use to bless somebody else. We've all made bad choices and bad decisions. We all done it. We have all done it. We have all at one time or another, if we really look at ourselves naked, have used one of these 10 types of emotional manipulation to get something for nothing. Most of us have. Most of us have. We've used our looks to be involved with a certain type of individual. We used our looks and our talents in a negative way to get a bill paid. And at that particular time, we might not have known any better. It was what we needed to do at that particular point. However, here's the thing about that. God's grace is all sufficient. And he allowed us to do it so that we would recognize, number one, when someone tries to play that on us. Then it is used. We realize that we get to a point where we don't have to do that anymore. That God is our source. He's our source. And him being our source, we don't have to revert back to those kind of tricks in order to get where we need to go. All we have to do, the easiest thing we have to do, is obey what God says, and he will delight in giving us what satisfies us. And I just preached to myself all over again. That's what he does. He delights in making your dreams come true because he gave you the dream. He gave you the gift. He gave you the talent. And he didn't give you those things for other people to manipulate you into being poor. Your gift will always make room for you. Let me say that again. Your gift will always make room for you, and it will bring you in front of great people. Great people being kings and presidents and CEOs. that will be so blessed by your gift until they feel so blessed that, see, because the natural thing is when you're blessed, the natural response is to bless when you are blessed. When someone blesses you, it's just a natural thing. It should be a natural thing to bless when someone blesses you. And you can always tell a person that's not blessed because they want it all for themselves. Anytime you're linked up with someone that wants everything for themselves, they're not blessed. And if you're not careful, you'll get in that mindset and actually forfeit your blessing. In other words, walk away from your blessing. Listen, let me say this to y'all, because people are disseminating erroneous information out here, and it really gets in my craw. Or as my grandmother said, it really gets my goat. People are saying that you can block your blessing. You cannot block what God already put into rotation. You cannot block your blessing. What you can do, you can refuse to receive your blessing. You can be out of your place, out of your position, out of your receptive mindset to receive your blessing. But you cannot stop God from blessing you no matter where you are. No matter what you do, if God has promised, he will fulfill his promise whether you accept it or not. Whether you accept it or not, God is blessing you. Whatever condition you're in, God is blessing you. Wherever you are, whatever your station in life, God is blessing you. Now it's up to you to receive it. And if you don't believe me, I dare you to open up yourself to receive the blessings of God right where you are, and watch. I'm not a liar. Watch it come to pass. Watch it come to pass. Watch it come to pass. I dare you. I dare you to say, God, I receive your blessing. God, I receive your promise. I dare you. I dare you. It's just like when you get up in the morning, because some of us in here, we get up in the morning, and one of the first things we do is we go, well, while we're brushing our teeth in the mirror, or just before we brush our teeth in the mirror, we speak to ourselves and we declare and decree the kind of day we're going to have. Now, in that, what I want you to start doing is saying, Lord God, I receive every blessing and every promise that you have promised me and that you have desired to give me. And I guarantee you, just as and I get excited and passionate about it because I've experienced it. I'm still experiencing it. And this is why I'm able to bless people. I'm able to bless people because I realize that number one, I can't stop anybody's blessing. And this is why I also support people when I see them being blessed. This is why I'm grateful for other people being blessed. I'm so grateful when people get blessed. It's just like I'm being blessed, because the Bible says to rejoice with them that do rejoice. And I'm happy for somebody that's being blessed and going to another level. When people made fun of my numbers, Oh, well, this one just came in and they just started their platform, and your numbers, their numbers, they came in after you. They started their platform after you, and now look at their numbers. Congratulations on your numbers. I'm happy for you. But what's mine is mine. And see, the path that I am to go is not like anybody else's path. So now take that. The path that you are supposed to go is not a carbon copy of anybody's. That's not what God called you to do. He didn't call you to a copy path. He didn't call you to follow somebody's path. He called you, he made you to blaze a path as a testimony and as an example to other people that they can blaze their own path, their own trail. My blessing is not your blessing. Your blessing is not my blessing. And so when I rejoice with you, and please get this and get this in your spirit. When I rejoice with you because of your blessing, it opens me up to be receptive of the blessings of God. Now, I've said it several times. I am a black man. I am a black man that have had several careers, that retired before he was 50 years old. And the only time I worked was when I got cast in 2 Broadway plays and an off-Broadway, and they came for me. They were looking for me. Other than that, I haven't had to work. I haven't had to work. Sometimes I felt like I wanted to, but then I looked again and said, hey, I'm just going to lay here a little longer. But it's not to throw shade at anybody, but it is because that was my path. That was my path. That's what God and my relationship with God afforded me. Because again, I tell you, when God tells me to do something, I don't ask questions. I do it. And when you do what God says do, trust me. Trust me, opportunities will come your way, and the decisions when you're faced with opportunities will always be made right. Always be made right. Always be made right. I seem to have gone off, but it's all related. Because if I'm giving you the 10 types of manipulation, let me empower you that after you recognize it, that you have to focus on what God told you to do and not focus on the manipulator. Because we get too focused outside of ourselves to the point where we lose ourselves in the situations and the shenanigans. That's right, 6 of 7. Many people are not here. Many people are not here because they couldn't take the pressure. And that is a testimony. That is a ministry. That is an offering to someone else that may be going through something similar. That is a blessing to someone else. For me to look at you on here and see that you're here, it is a blessing. It is a testament that what you've been through, you've made it. You made it through. A friend of mine wrote a song, "You brought me through this, you brought me through that." And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everything I've been through. So don't let none of these types of manipulators manipulate you out of your blessing. Don't let them manipulate you out of your blessing. Ooh, I'm feeling, well, I believe in when God puts the unction in to just follow it. But I'm excited about this thing. And I have been blessed by my, well, they're not my words. I believe that it's the word of the Lord that is speaking. I am who I am. That's my job. It is to empower you for whatever the situation is. Be empowered and understand that when you lean on God, when you allow him to speak to you and lead you and guide you, he will lead you right every single time. And he won't let you down. Friends will let you down. People, associates will let you down, but God will never let you down. Because if God says no to one thing, he's saying it because it may be no. He's saying no or closing. See, this is what we don't get. We always talk about God opening doors for us. But there are doors that God closes for us, because if we go through those doors, it means destruction. It means being lost. However, when God closes a door, he opens an even bigger door. When God closes a window, he opens up to roof and rains down on you. So never be disappointed by when things don't work out, because so often it is in God's plan, because there is something better that God has planned, something that is going to last a lifetime. When God rains it down on you, that you're not only going to be blessed, but you're going to be able to bless other people. And see, that's what perpetuates your blessing, is blessing other people with what God has given you, with the information, with the gifts, with the talents that God has given you. When you bless other people, God automatically adds to that, because he's so pleased that you wasn't keeping it for yourself and that you did it with joy. It's a pleasure for me to come on here. Really, I don't care what anybody says about me, how they say my channel is boring. You can say that if you want to. However, I believe in letting another man praise you and not praising yourself. Because the word on the street is that people come over here and get blessed. People come over here and get healed. That's what the word is on the street. And people don't like that kind of teaching. But I will say this about Johnny Mac 365. When I come on here, I'm coming on vulnerable and authentic. Vulnerable to hear God's voice and to follow his leading. And authentic. This is the real deal. This is what I've experienced. This is what I feel. My love for the Creator and my relationship with the Creator is authentic. And I share it, not trying to change your mind, but just trying to, my attempt is to give you a different perspective, a different possibility that will move you from where you are in the direction to where you're meant to go, with power and authority and with joy. Now, I've been on here an hour and 30 minutes, and usually I try to keep it at an hour. However, I'm not apologizing for it, because I know that it has blessed me. And I know in it blessing me, it blesses you all. So I do my best not to give anything out that's not a blessing to me first. Because see, this is what folks don't get. And here is a clue to recognizing a real word. When somebody's giving you a word, if it has not affected their lives, it's not going to affect yours. If it has not blessed their life, if it's not blessing their lives as they give it, then it is not going to be a blessing to the hearer. And I have observed several Sunday inspirational messages that was not a blessing because it is not coming with joy from the inside. It is not being a blessing to the speaker. Again, it is a manipulation tactic to manipulate the emotion of a person to support me in my mess. I don't want to be supported in my mess. I want to be called out. I want to be reminded of what my purpose is. So, I appreciate everyone that has come into this, which started out as a Wednesday word, which really, I had no intention to go spiritual or, gospel or preaching. However, I'm not apologizing because that's who I am. That's who I am. So I appreciate your patience and your indulgence, and I appreciate you giving your time to me. And in giving your time to me, I give unto you as you have given unto me. I bless you with love. I decree and declare. Absolutely, Veshaji. When the anointing is not in, see, because the word of God is anointed. Let's understand that. The word of God is anointed. It is spirit. The word of God is spirit. It is living and breathing. And when someone is giving you a word with no anointing, with no life and no spirit, they're giving you a dead word. It is because they have taken the word out of context and they're using it as a tool of manipulation. I'm not here to appeal to your emotion. I'm here to appeal to your intellect, to share with you the tools that when you get into a situation where you don't know what to do, your spirit man will bring that word up into your conscience and instruct you on what to do so that you will come out more than a conqueror through Christ who loves us, through God who loves us. It is about that spirit man. Because if your spirit man is right, trust me, your physical man is going to be the bomb. It's going to be the bomb. You can be 87 years old looking 30 because your spirit is right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can. You can. You can be 87 years old and still wearing 6-inch pumps. Y'all ain't saying nothing, but y'all don't like that kind of teaching. Some folk don't like that kind of teaching. and you can. So again, I appreciate you giving me your time. Tawana, Ona Corona, it is so good to see some of you. I really must say I missed not being on here for a week. Melancholy, Mo, Vesha G, J Dot, Juke, the Juke Joint, my incredibly blessed and anointed godson. You all have been a blessing to me, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Well, yes, because some people are on a corona, because some people go on their emotions and they don't exercise their intellect. And again, remember, I have said this in a couple of videos about their eyes being closed and their ears being closed so that they cannot see nor can they hear, because they're so consumed with the emotional gratification. And let me tell you something. I'm going to share this with you. Momentary gratification is never worth the long-term effect. I'm going to say that again. Those of you that got a pen and paper, write this down and remind yourself. Momentary gratification is never worth the long-term effect. Being gratified in that moment feels good to you. But the question is, in the long term, is it good for you? Because everything that's good to you is not good for you. Everything good to you is not good for you. It feels good at the time. Just ask some unwed mothers, people who have had children out of wedlock. It felt good in the moment, but the long term was sacrifice. And see, some people are not willing to sacrifice. Some people are not willing to sacrifice because of that momentary gratification. Some people find that sacrifice very difficult to make and adjust to. So we have to weigh in the balance. Is the is momentary gratification worth it? Is this the right time? Is this the right place? Is this the right time in my life? Am I willing to sacrifice what I desire, what I want, my goal for this momentary gratification? And when you begin to look at it like that, the decisions we make become more profound in our lives. Citizen Kane asks me, are you a ride or live or nah? No, I am not a ride or live. I ride and I live, and I live more abundantly. Ride and live. Because when you say ride or live, that means you're making a choice whether you want to ride or live. So if you don't live and you ride, that means you're not living at all. It's a choice, ride or live. I never understood that that change of words, a ride or, it's derived from the ride or die. But no, I don't ride or live. I ride and I live. I don't ride and die. I don't ride or live. I ride and live. Hey, Onside April. Good to see you. Good to see you, niece. Good to see you, niece. God bless you for being here. But no, over here, we don't ride or live. We ride and live. Why? Because what we do over here is we apply the principles. We apply the principles of God. We apply the principles of the universe. We plant in expectation of receiving a harvest. And we know that we plant, someone else waters, and we all receive the harvest. However, we understand that the harvest is where, when we harvest the crop, that is where the work really begins. You know, the planting season and all of that is cool. That's light work. That is really light work when you think of gathering in the harvest. That's where the real work begins. Gathering up the harvest, then we store up the harvest and we feed off of the harvest. Not only do we feed off the harvest, but we share the harvest that we have, or the crop that we have harvested, so others can live. So we are ride and lives, because we will ride and we will live for what's right. We believe in treating people right. We believe in respect and discipline, because you can't have respect and not be disciplined. Because when I don't agree with you, I still have to be disciplined and operate in the spirit of respect. Okay. Or as what's that child's name? Lord have mercy. I just learned I could do that, y'all. Oh, we ride and live over here at the Mac Association. So good evening to all. I'm on here an hour and 45 minutes. Wow. I do appreciate all the content creators that came into the chat and fellowshipped with us over here. Onside April, J-Doc, Juke Joint, Melancholy, Bernadette, Vesha G, Ona Corona, all of you, I appreciate. And some of the names that, yeah, that's right, Onside. It was Cardi B, that's right. I don't know why her name just slips me. And she was right up the road from me. And to all of, let me say this, all mine, to all of you, to the cross support movement, I appreciate you. The elements, the WGQs, club chat. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, it just slips my mind. I'm sorry, Onside April. I forgot what your people are called. But to all of you who we support and support us, we appreciate you. And to the pieces, Tracy's pieces, to all of you, you all have been a blessing to me. Therefore, it is so easy for me to bless you. So I appreciate you at an hour and 45 minutes. Elements. Yeah, I call the elements. Arsenals. That's it. Arsenals. To the arsenals, to all of you that, and the lotus flowers. Yes, the lotus flowers. All of you. And anyone and everyone can take this message back to everybody that I appreciate all of you so very much, because you have supported me in ways that you really, I may never tell you, but you've supported me. Therefore, it is so easy for me to support you all and show you love. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let me say this. We will be back tomorrow for Thank You Thursday. And if you're not there, well, you're square. But don't meet me there. In the words of T.S. Madison, beat me there. And as is my normal end of my lives, before I do that, I'd like to shout out a happy birthday to my granddaughter. Today is my granddaughter's birthday. Wow, they grow up so fast, so fast. One moment you have them by the hand, they're jumping on your bed, having all that kind of fun, jumping on your bed and messing up your bed and stuff. And the next thing you know, they are graduated from high school, in college, driving their own cars, having their own jobs. And wow, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I say happy birthday to my granddaughter and to my daughter. I say happy Mother's Day, and to my son-in-law, I say happy Father's Day, because they have been super parents. I mean, super great parents to instill principles into their children that, wow, has really made me proud. So again, I shout out to you all. And to, again, all of my subscribers, I appreciate you. And for all of the comments that you all make, I appreciate the comments. They have been motivational, even sometimes when might have been a little discouraged, because we're all human, and sometimes we wonder if we're having an impact. But those comments always perk me up and encourage me that, Mac, you're making a difference. You're making a difference. You're making a difference. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you all so much. And I'm not going to keep running on, because I don't want to sound like individuals. Why are you calling me? Don't call me now. I appreciate you all. Again, and as I end every live, I decree and declare love unto you. As a matter of fact, much love, more love than you can think, more love than your heart can feel, and much more love than your hands can hold. Thank you, Etta Harrell. And Etta, I have been observing you in other people's chat, and how the aura that you have, and I have been waiting for you to come over here. So I'm so glad to see you. And Miss Leo, you know how I feel about you. But let me get back to closing out, because I'll start up all over again, because certain people on here have accused me accurately of being long-winded, and sometimes I forget how long-winded I am. I decree and declare much love unto you. More love than you can conceive, more love than your heart can hold, and much more love. I'm sorry, your heart can feel, and much more love than your hands can hold. I decree love unto you, because love not only covers, but love, authentic, real love, causes you to keep the commandments of God. And in keeping the commandments of God, you are blessed. So I thank you again for being here. And I bid you a wonderful rest of this Wednesday. And again, I thank you all. Love you so much. Have a good night.